power, because really we are discussing this issue of what a sword means.
Yes.
Power is organized, competent knowledge. And the competence is not a preserve of one community. And that our country is retrogressing basically because those that have been in leadership base their competence on tribe other than really ability
Correct.
to perform.
Yeah. We have a system that does not work for us right now. You have a president and you have parliament, which is supposed to be an independent arm of government that oversees the national executive. But the interpretation has been, because all these people have been elected on the same party of the president, they think that they are there in parliament to protect their government. And that is where we have failed as a country. So parliament was the first one to fall. In fact, it fell in 2012 when they had what they used to call tyranny of numbers in parliament. But members of parliament forget that in a presidential system, your job is to oversight as an institution of parliament. The way Congress works in the US, because in a presidential system, you are supposed to oversight as an institution, you oversight the executive. Our members of parliament elected on the party that forms government think they are there to protect government. So you see what happens right now. William Ruto basically has taken over parliament, that every single thing that he sends to parliament, even if it is against the interests of the same members of parliament and their people. You have seen the examples of the finance bill. In the Senate, we had a spectacle that senators are being told to vote for less amount of money to go to their own counties. And they actually just vote the way the president has said. Now, after the success that he achieved with putting parliament in his pocket, he has now fixed his eyes on the judiciary. We are going to lose this entire republic if that happens. Because at the end of the day, if you have a dispute, like now if I have a dispute with the state, if I'm arrested today, and then the Chief Justice is having a meeting as we speak with the president to say, next week I'm going to arrest Sifuna. Please don't give him bail. Because I am not in that discussion. And that discussion can only result in the fabric of the constitution being loosened. What are these people sitting down to discuss? So even this constitution, if you look at what had been proposed in the Bomas draft, even on the appointment of judges, for instance, Kenyans had said very clearly, they do not want any presidential role in the appointment of judges. But then, after you go to Kilifi and you go to Naivasha, there are people telling the president, no, traditionally as a president, lazima uweke kidole. Yeah? So we say, okay, let us just retain some residual power for him. After the JSC appoints, let the president just gazette or whatever it is. That
it becomes a problem.
Then it becomes a problem because you get to Uhuru.
Interest.
Uhuru looks at the list and says, I have a problem with this one and this one, I am not going to gazette. And there's nothing you can do. There's no constitutional mechanism for you to resolve that problem. So Ruto works as lyrical and says, the president has no role, the judiciary should be independent because he is outside. And then he comes into power to demonstrate that now he is a believer in the constitution and rule of law. He appoints the judges and we all praise him and say, oh, this one finally understands. But look at what is happening now. When a president stands up and says he will not respect a court order, and he thinks he's addressing his villagers in Kambagut, no. When you speak as a president, the entire world listens. You have investors from other countries. Cyrus, you yourself have been a victim of investing, then a dispute arises. You go to court and stay there for years.
For years. 32 years I'm still in court.
That's what I'm saying. You have not been paid your money. And you might never see it. Yeah, you might never see that money. So when an investor is thinking of bringing a project to this country, and it is the nature of business that disputes might arise. You want to invest a country where, first of all, the dispute resolution mechanism is clear, it is fast, it is efficient, that within 3 years, you should be able, even 3 years is too long, you should be able to get a decision within 3 months of filing a case. That yes, Cyrus is wrong, Sifuna is right, pay Cyrus this amount of money. That's what should happen. So an investor sitting somewhere in Los Angeles, looking at like he went to the Silicon Savannah. What is it called? Silicon Valley. To look for investors to come to Kenya. Now, that same investor is watching Kenyan news and is hearing that president saying that he is not going to respect a decision of the court because he has a sword that he was given and it's not for cutting vegetables. So what happens? That investor will think, what happens if I have a problem with the regulator? You have come here to set up an IT firm. or a communications company like Safaricom or Vodafone or the others, and then you have a dispute with the Communication Authority of Kenya. You go to court. You know you are right. The Communications Authority of Kenya is wrong. William Ruto calls the Chief Justice and tells the Chief Justice that guy cannot win that case, and even if you give him the order, I will not respect it. Who will put their money here?
Actually, I agree with you.